Let's get into this big news, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the Twitter thread from Barry Weiss. The Twitter Files Part 2, Twitter's secret blacklists. I will not waste your time. Dr. Jay Bhattacharya was arguing that COVID lockdowns would harm children. He was placed on a trends blacklist and also has this flag, recent abuse strike, whatever that means. Then we have Dan Bongino, who was search blacklisted. And he also had something called a notification spike. I don't know what that means. You can see he had no strikes, but they put him on a blacklist. That look, and it says multiple accounts, Twitter Blue verified, not safe for work view. I wonder what SPMA means. Charlie Kirk, do not amplify, recent abuse strike and notification spike. Multiple accounts, not safe for work view. Interesting. What does that mean, multiple accounts? Are they accusing these individuals of personally operating multiple accounts?
Sounds like it, but I think that that's a bannable offense.
Right.
Or maybe it's because he's got Turning Point USA is his organization. Right. So he's in charge of several different accounts.
Twitter denied that they shadow banned people. They said that they didn't do it, and they certainly didn't do it on ideology. But then the funny thing is, you get this story. First, different than the Daily Dot, Twitter insists it's not shadow banning conservatives. And then I think, is this one weird here? Twitter appears to have fixed shadow ban of prominent Republicans like RNC chair and Trump Jr. spokesman. So that was July 25th, 2018. And then this story, this was July 27th, 2018, saying they're not doing it. They're not doing it. It was updated in May 2021. I wonder why. So this is, we all knew. But once again, Twitter Files are delivering hard proof. Conservatives are being banned, shadow banned, manipulated, de-amplified, de-boosted, whatever. And the story is currently developing. Barry Weiss says, this is funny. They said they don't shadow ban everybody. They do visibility filtering. They call it VF, refers to the ability to limit the scope of a particular tweet's or individual's discoverability to block select users' posts from ever appearing on the trending page and from inclusion in hashtag searches, all without people knowing. Now I have to wonder, they did this to Dan Bongino. He uses Twitter as a business, for his business. Is this a breach of contract? If I enter into a contract with you and you secretly apply restrictions against me, are they breaching their contract? Or is the argument going to be, no, the terms of service say that we can do all of these things to you?
I'm not familiar with the terms enough. I would imagine, because it's a free to use service, that you really don't have any recourse to sue them if they're screwing with you. But I don't know. I don't know what the promise was.
Check this out. This is where it starts getting crazy. Quote, we control visibility quite a bit and we control the amplification of your content quite a bit. And normal people do not know how much we do. One Twitter engineer told us, 2 additional employees confirmed. The group that decided whether to limit the reach of certain users was the Strategic Response Team, Global Escalation Team, or SRT GET. It often handled the 200 cases per day. But there existed a level beyond official ticketing, beyond the rank and file moderators, following the company's policy on paper. That is the Site Integrity Policy Escalation Support, known as SIPPES. The secret group included head of legal policy and trust, Vijay Gadde, the global head of trust and safety, Yoel Roth, subsequent CEOs Jack Dorsey and Parag Agrawal, and others. It's where the biggest, most politically sensitive decisions got made. Think high follower count, controversial. Another Twitter employee told us. For these, there would be no ticket or anything. Take a look at this. Libs of TikTok. It says, do not take action on user without consulting the SIPPES. Really, really interesting stuff. They mentioned that Rychik had been suspended several times. You can see Libs of TikTok has a recent abuse strike, notification spike, and is trend blacklisted. 2 strikes, high profile, it says, multiple accounts not safe for work view. So, how much of this is just kind of like, yeah, okay, we know.
But having the receipts here, I think, is absolutely important. I think there's going to be bigger implications here because it wasn't just these few accounts that we mentioned here. Barry Weiss in the thread number 12 specifically documents and says how there was 20 cases a day of individuals being individually targeted and attacked as Twitter was going on and publicly saying that we were absolutely not shadow banning. The corporate media was regurgitating their talking points. You could see, I just retweeted the official Twitter account from 2018. They said, quote, "People are asking us if we shadow ban. We don't. Read more to get all the facts." They're not facts here. Again, this is an official Twitter account tweeting this a couple years ago, gaslighting people, lying to people as they were manipulating our social discourse. And we know that when they do this, they could decide and determine not only the outcome of elections, but have huge major effects on society with the power to essentially control people's minds. This is next level stuff.
I want to talk later about Brittany Greiner and Paul Whelan is his name, right? Paul
Whelan, I think.
Paul Whelan. Am I getting it wrong?
Yes.
There's this article from Jordan Schachtel, I think it is, outlining how the Biden administration intentionally ignored this guy and opted for Brittany Greiner. And even NBC initially reported, I think it was NBC, that Russia said you can have one or the other, not both. And so Biden was like, give us the basketball player, showing that he doesn't care about our Marines or the people who are overseas or whatever. He had the option. He didn't take it. I saw that, and I just felt like I need to stress to everybody. Joe Biden does not represent you. He does not represent any of us in this room. He does not represent the Marines or the Army. He represents his cult. The president, the Democrats in the Senate and Congress are cult members. You do not exist to them. There was no consideration for a former Marine when they were doing a prisoner swap with the merchant of death, an arms dealer, because Joe Biden said, why would I care about that guy? I want you to think about it this way. Right now in this country, what's happening? Let's say that there's a hostage situation and you're outside and the hostage taker says, I'll only release one person, your daughter or John Smith. And you're like, who's John Smith? And they'll be like, well, he's a decorated war hero. He saved a box full of puppies the other day. Give me my daughter. My point is, Joe Biden, when he looks at the potential of this, he doesn't think about the American people. He thinks about his cult and his ideology and what earns him those points with his crowd. He is not representing the United States of America. I mentioned this back during the COVID lockdowns. When Florida was not locked down, when South Dakota was not locked down, and other conservative states were not locked down, and Joe Biden came out and said, we're locking down for these reasons, and we're going to have to do this, that, or otherwise. And I'm like, well, who's he talking to?
He keeps tweeting at me to tell me to get my vaccine. Get a vaccine.
Joe Biden
like,
does?
he's not even a doctor.
He's not talking to you.
He's not tweeting at me. You're right. He's just tweeting it out, and I'm reading it like he's not a doctor.
What I'm saying is, when Joe Biden came out and said, everyone, we need to do these things, he wasn't talking to any of us in this room or any of you watching. They don't see us as part of the same country as them. I think that's just a reality. And this is exemplified just so hilariously. This is the issue I have with conservatives. Time magazine chooses Zelensky. And what do conservatives do? They go, I can't believe Time magazine chose Zelensky as person of the year. And it's like, first of all, why would you read Time magazine? They're the ones who published that article about fortifying the election. They don't have any real circulation anymore. They're not culturally relevant, but conservatives view the left as culturally relevant and as the epicenter of America and American culture for some reason. And the left views them as creepy weirdos who have nothing to do with what this country is doing.
Well, and I think this is how we're different. Like, this is where I actually get some pushback from my followers. If I'm America first, that means that I want to put every American first, even the commies, even people that disagree with me, because I value upholding my citizens' rights. And so even with Brittany, I was getting pushback from saying, yes, we do need to secure her freedom, even if she broke Russian law, even if she doesn't stand for the flag or doesn't stand for our freedoms and freedom of speech. And even when some people are saying, to leave cities and to leave California behind, and they chose this and let them suffer the consequences of their votes. No, I don't think that's an America First perspective. We need to be fighting for freedom everywhere. Now, with that being said, does that mean that I think that we should trade the merchant of death and Russian arms dealer while the very country Russia and Putin are invading Ukraine. All I can see from this is I think there's a very real possibility that through his connections with his freedom now, we could see Putin gaining even more arms to use against Ukraine, which what does that mean from us? That means that we are going to be sending another $74 billion to Ukraine to solve the problem that was just exacerbated by our very president. And that's kind of where my head is at in this. And I say not another dime for Ukraine. I was already at, if we're securing Ukraine's border while we're not securing ours, why should we be sending them any money? But the fact of the matter is the United States is creating a problem while also trying to be the solution. And the only people that are suffering from this are us.
I met a guy, he was, I think he was a captain in the army, I think. I can't remember. I don't know how the ranking stuff works. But he said he retired. He was planning on staying in until he was too old. He wanted to be, a careerist or, for his full career. And then he's in his mid-30s, and he said he was resigning his commission because of the wokeness that's happening in the military. And so I see that, and I'll say it, they're shutting down prisons, they're releasing criminals, crime is rampant, and the politicians keep, like the Democrats in these cities, keep doing the same thing. And I'm like, isn't it obvious at this point? It's because you are not a part of what they are doing. When they say our democracy, when they say our democracy, replace that with cult. And then remember that you're not a part of their cult. So when Joe Biden comes out and says, these far-right extremists are a threat to our cult, then you need to understand what he's really saying. He's not talking about the United States. He's talking about something that excludes you specifically.
Yeah, the United States is a plural. The United States are a thing. It's a bunch of states that are united. We are united. And if someone in the federal government is trying to override that and act like they're the one that resembles the states united, then they're failing.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.